This is Dale the Demon Torborg.
My name is Bryce Rensburg. I'm the Chikara Senior Official.
This is April Hunter from AprilHunter.com.
I'm Bobby Ches, a three-time world champion, Showtime expert analyst.
This is Coolio with the Flow, a.k.a. the Ghetto Gourmet.
This is Dan the Beast Severn, the only Triple Crown champion in the UFC history.
Hi, everybody. This is Jerry the King Lawler. That's right, WWE Hall of Famer.
This is Jeff Damon from Deadliest Warrior on Spike TV.
You have tuned in and are now live listening to the three-time NWA Heavyweight Champion of the World, Scrap Iron Pierce, and just like you, I am also locked in. And, brother, we are beyond ringside.
Cocked, locked, and ready to play on a Tuesday night, 1 minute after 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah, we haven't done that daylight savings time crap yet. Although we might get a little snow before it's over with. Finally. Welcome back in to Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics on this Tuesday night, 24th day of February 2015. Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel in Birmingham, USA. And like to welcome in, even though not on this network, an old friend from another microphone. Bambi Weavil, how you doing tonight?
Hey there, sir. How's it going?
Believe me, I wanted y'all over on this network.
I hear. I've heard my name called recently. It's very flattering. I'm very honored.
Oh, maybe one or two times. Matter of fact, I've seen posts every once in a while from one of your old tag team partners on a previous show. Now, for those who don't know to what I refer, do me a favor. Give everybody the update on where you were in previous days as far as wrestling radio goes.
Oh, Lord. If I go real far back, we'd have all night. Most recently, I was working on Shoot Finish with one of my dear friends, Greg Ragland, and it was on a PWF 24/7. But that's been a bit ago. This is my first time on online wrestling radio in a couple of years. Probably been about 2 years.
And the loaded question is, how much do you miss it? And be honest.
I miss it a lot. There's nothing more fun than being on the air for a couple of hours or even 1 to 2 hours and just having a good time with your friends, talking about the business that we love. Can't beat it.
Believe me, I understand the concept. Before I go any further, first off, to everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com, thank you very much. Whether you're listening through TuneIn Radio, TuneIn Radio's mobile app, especially Apple users, thank you very much. Shoutcast, WinAmp, and of course, the Beyond Ringside Radio app, which is available for Android, Amazon, and BlackBerry devices. Got a couple of things I'd like to share out real quick, if I could. First off, to my, I would say second cousin, but I'm going to say second cousin anyway, to my cousin, Kelly, want to say happy birthday, celebrating this afternoon. Also, had a chance at this past Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia at the Ring of Honor show. Had a chance to hang out with some new best friends, Tobias, Jared, Adrian, Ty, Ryan. Guys, it was great to be able to hang out with y'all this past Saturday in Norcross, even though Norcross to me is still part of Atlanta, at the ROH show. And understand through one of them, they got in touch with me and let me know that they were saying they're a collective of future podcast hopefuls known as Urban Minds. So do me a favor, guys. As soon as you get everything in place, let me know. Love to hear what you got going on. Love to hear their perspective. And that's one of the things I've always enjoyed about doing this right here, whether we were starting out on Blog Talk Radio, whether we are on UStream, whether we were pre-recorded, 99% of the time we were live, and it's getting a chance to see on social media and hear by voice some of the perspectives from some of the other people who, whether they're in the business or whether they're fans or people wanting to make their way into it. Because everybody has a unique perspective, right, Bambi?
Absolutely. Everyone brings something different to the table in pro wrestling, and that's the way it should be.
And it's always a fickle bird because you've got so many people who are genuine wrestling fans. You've got people who are WWE fans, which of course they're the big fish in the pond out there. They're Orca. They're Moby Dick that everybody wants to take the harpoon to, and they're the first ones to sit back and whine and complain about. But they're also the first ones to plunk down $100 for a ticket.
And pay that $9.99.
I can't complain about the network. Now, I'll be honest. I've had the network since the day after WrestleMania. I made the comment that if Mania was a good show last year, that I would get the network. Mm-hmm. And if Mania blew chunks, I wasn't going to get the network. And realistically speaking, with all of the library that WWE has, and getting a chance to go back and really look at some of the older Fed pay-per-views, as well as WCW, as well as ECW, and watch some of the old television shows, when you really could just chunk it out the window and have fun.
Absolutely. It's I love watching the network when I can. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have a lot of time anymore to watch as much as I would like to be a fan for a couple of minutes. I'm in business promoter mode right now. But when I do sit down and watch the product from days on end, it's very nice. It's nice to step back and be like, oh, wow, that it's really enjoyable. I forgot about that storyline. Or, that character was really great. Or, wow, that crowd is really popping right now. It's incredible. It's amazing how different the WWE product is today than it was yesterday.
Now, you're originally from, you had been for a while from the Mid-Atlantic States area. Of course, one of the longtime hotbeds for pro wrestling action. Color me jealous on my side of the board, because you had things going on: North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, all up and down that area. Taking it up into the Maryland market, and then you said you told me off air just a minute ago that you pop up to the Big Apple.
I am. I'm now in New York City. Been here for about 3 years. Love it. I miss North Carolina on occasion, but you know what? I'm spending a lot of time in North Carolina in the next couple of years with my company, Masters of Ring Entertainment. And we're dedicated to making North Carolina a hotbed again. So I'm very, very excited about what I'm working on.
You took my segue right out from under me. You can tell. You can tell I'm talking to another broadcaster and someone who also believes in shameless promotion. There you go. Now, but seriously, do me a favor. Come on board and let everybody know about Masters of Ring Entertainment.
Thank you. It's something that my business partner and I, Charlie Hartman, have been working on since September. So technically, we're still toddlers. But we are a national pro wrestling special events organization based in Las Vegas. My partner Charlie's in Las Vegas. I'm up here in New York. And we're coming to Wilmington, North Carolina. We're doing 3 major shows starting in March 7th. So it's really 13 or 12 days away from now. It's coming back May 23rd for a big women in wrestling event. Very huge. Very, very excited about that. In August, we're doing something in August to be announced. So, I'm very, very excited to come back to North Carolina. There's a lot of great fans in North Carolina, and we're attracting people from all over the United States. You can't beat that.
Yeah, and that's one that I've been wanting to ask you about, because I've read some of the different things that have been going around. Of course, you made the reference to March 7th, just over a week and a half away. The special tribute to Jim Cornette, I believe you call it Lasting Legacy, right?
Correct. It's the Lasting Legacy series. So we have Lasting Legacy, a tribute to Jim Cornette, March 7th, and then May 23rd, Lasting Legacy, a tribute to women in wrestling. So this is something that we're doing as a series to pay back to the business, give back. To me, you don't have to be dead to pay honor to somebody, and I would prefer to have people alive to hear how great they were.
Yeah, the only thing about it, when they're alive, they can also cash in at the bar.
And they will.
Of course. Of course. Now, this is somebody, of course, we've had the honor of having Jim Cornette on Beyond Ringside Live in previous days. There was a convention in Atlanta, Georgia that was leading up to, and he was kind enough to make an appearance over there with us. And, of course, being able to hang out with Jim and being able to talk about some of the... See, one of the things I've always been really big on, road stories. Mm-hmm. Because at the arena, everybody knows. And in this day and age, especially with social media the way it is, people have a tendency to talk a little bit more about the locker room than, in my humble opinion, they should. But nobody ever really brings up what happens on the road after hours. At least normally not during a family-friendly radio show. Hashtag hell damn ass, you have to listen to get it. And that's one of the things that I've always enjoyed. It's like, you've got some great stars who are coming on board for this event. One that pops straight into my head, of course, is going to be our guest in about 21 minutes from right now, the Doctor of Desire, Tom Pritchard.
He's great.
Looking forward to having him back on. We've had him on Beyond Ringside Live. We've had him on Cause and Effect here on the BR Network. And looking forward to having him back on in just a little while this evening, because, like I said, Tom is always a blast to talk to. And for those who have not had a chance to catch him, whether it be on a show similar to or this show or a show similar to ours, or if you just get a chance to talk to him at one of the venues, trust me, it is a lot of fun. And even more so, it's a learning experience. And this is where I'm going to shift for just a second, because Do you see on social media where people are more interested in talking than they are about learning about the traditions that have been set?
That's a great point, and that's the truth. People want to voice their opinion. They're not necessarily ready to sit back and just learn from the guys that did it before them, girls and guys, to be honest. And Dr. Tom is someone you should absolutely learn from. So I know they'll get a lot of interview tonight, but they'll definitely get a lot from his stories on March 7th as well about Cornette and his experiences on the road with Jim.
And some of the other stars that you're going to have at the event on March 7th, of course, multi-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Hall of Famer Harley Race is going to be there.
And his son, Leland Race, which is very, very, it's a big honor for us that Leland's coming with Harley. It's going to be incredible. Harley is just, it's almost shocking to me that we have him on the card because he's such a legend in the business, and he deserves so much respect on his own accord. So I'm very glad that he's a part of our event.
And, of course, I believe that you've got how many members of the Midnight Express that are going to be there?
2, Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Layne. This is a very rare appearance for Stan Layne.
Right.
He does not do conventions.
Which he does one like once every other year.
Yes. Yes. So it's going to be a special occasion on that front. Any, Midnight Express fans out there appreciated, Stan Layne and Bobby Eaton's great tag team history with Jim Cornette. They're in for a treat. And people forget what a great broadcaster Stan Layne was. And speaking of the network, watch any of his old matches. I mean, he's brilliant.
And that's something that I've always found to be peculiar because and there's always that dividing line because you can have somebody who is great on a microphone cutting a promo, but when it comes time to sit down and do commentary, they're like,
freeze. Yep, brain freeze. Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. You can have somebody that's like, okay, we're sitting down, we're going to do commentary. You're in the 1 chair, I'm in the 2 chair, and we just run. And then all of a sudden, here we go straight to camera to do a promo. It's like,
right, exactly. It's very accurate.
And to find people that are actually able to easily run on both sides of that line is actually a blessing in the world of pro wrestling. Now, I'm gonna lay this one out to you, and I'm not, like I say, I'm not asking you to answer as the co-founder of Masters of Ring Entertainment. I'm asking you to answer this as a person who's been a longtime wrestling fan.
Okay.
Genuinely speaking, do you find that the art of cutting not the promo is a lost art?
Absolutely. Without question. Without question. It's such a lost art. And when you see it and it's so good, and as a fan, you're just like, oh my God, I keep talking, or that really blew me out of the water. That's so rare now. I miss that feeling. It doesn't happen too much.
And that's something that when I found out that WWE had been bringing Dusty in down to the Performance Center to help some of their people work on cutting a promo or work on the art of the promo, I'm sitting back going, there's hope. There's hope. I
mean, he's the man. I mean, he was the legend. No one could do a better promo than Dusty Rhodes. That's where, it's his domain, so there's still hope. There's still a lot to happen in the WWE where they need to step up their promos, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the WWE, but, there's potential. There always is.
Now, here's the fun part about the convention or about the special event on the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that you're not only bringing in the Midnight Express, Stan and Bobby, you're also bringing in their longtime nemesis.
Rock and Roll Express. Absolutely.
Ricky and Robert, I've had a chance to work with them on more than one occasion. Absolutely tremendous in-ring, out of the ring. And you won't find, and this is not taking away anything from anybody else of which we've spoken, you won't find 2 more genuine people.
Oh, I've heard great things. I haven't met them in person yet. I've had some conversations, but I'm really looking forward to them coming. I mean, from a worker standpoint, you can't beat what those guys brought in the tag team division. I mean, I love watching the crowd reactions on old tapes, and to me that says it all. If fans are just unglued, out of their mind, cheering or booing, that's a good show, and that's a lost art now. You don't see that. I watch a lot of Raw, more so than SmackDown, but it doesn't matter. It's still in the same barometer. You watch the crowd. It's not the same energy of what the tag team guys did or the Hulk Hogan's and Macho Man's brought to the arena. It's just not there right now.
Now, in addition to a number of names that are synonymous and side by side, I know, same thing, but what the hell, I'll say it 2 different ways. with the letters national or the letters NWA, which of course a lot of people knew that timeline, and more people are finding out about that timeline. The Crockett era, whether it be the Mid-Atlantic area, the Atlanta market, where it was World Championship Wrestling, National Wrestling Alliance, where Cornette had, of course, so many different areas, but a lot of people, of course, because the World Championship Wrestling on Superstation TBS really just catapulted everything into a national and international spotlight. You've also got names that are not necessarily synonymous with that, but they are synonymous with various facets of pro wrestling. Now, in addition to, how many other different stars have you got coming in that a lot of current day fans are going to be able to see?
Former WWE star Mason Ryan. He's fantastic. Former WCW star The Stro. Not counting those guys, we're bringing Ivan Koloff in. He's a treasure in his own right.
Right.
The list can go on. I mean, we've got a great stack card. Go to self-plug mode, mastersofringentertainment.com. You can see the entire talent lineup. But I'm very, very excited about who we've got coming in.
Now, that's somebody that I've had a chance to speak with face to face before, because we were working on the same card up in Columbus. And Stro, tremendous talent. And I'm just going to go and lay this one out there. In my humble opinion, very underrated talent in the world of pro wrestling, because the man's got skills for days, plain and simple. And as far as being able to work a microphone and work a crowd, he's always fun to watch and fun to listen to.
You're 100% right. Stro is one of the best out there in the independent scene, has never given enough credit, has worked in different eras of the business. I mean, he was in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, like he's learned a lot from Cornette, and he's come up the ranks, in his different, worked overseas, I think so highly of Stro. Now,
let me go ahead before we go any further. Availability on tickets for the event.
They're selling. If anybody wants them, get them at the early bird price, because day of, unfortunately, we have to raise the price to meet demand, and they're selling. We're getting people from all over the country coming in. I'm very, very excited.
Now, there is this little rumor. It's actually a big rumor, and it's more than a rumor, that someone who was aligned with Jim Cornette on back when it was WWF, if my notes are correct, on Monday Night Raw on more than one occasion when there was an NWA invasion taking place, so to speak. He was the then National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion, also known as the Ultimate in the world of mixed martial arts. Would you like to take this one?
He is, Ultimate Fighting Champion, Hall of Famer, MMA legend, Dan the Beast Severn. Amazing guy. Very, very honored to have him host Lasting Legacy for us, but he also will be appearing at the Expo and taking part in a special Hall of Fame panel with Mr. Race and Mr. DiBiase.
Now, tell everybody a little bit more about that part, if you would.
Yes, so the VIP, so there's two tiers to this. You've got a general admission and a VIP ticket. The VIP ticket will get you in all day. It will get you in the Expo, and will get you in Lasting Legacy. So it's the best deal. Not only that, you get a VIP gift bag, and you get access to 2 different Q&As. The VIP Q&A number 1 is the Hall of Fame Q&A panel with Harley Race, Ted DiBiase, and Dan the Beast Severn, hosted by the incomparable Bill Atmer. That's going to be really great. We'll be taking fan questions for that hour. After that, immediately following that, is a Q&A with Jim Cornette, which is an experience of its own. That's going to be really, really fun. And afterwards, he's doing a photo op, with all the VIPs. So that is the plan. And in the evening, of course, the VIPs can come in as well as general admission. VIP get priority seating. But, we've got some great things in the works. I mean, what people may not realize, and I don't feel it's hit heavy enough on point, is that we're giving a triple way to WrestleMania. Everybody that buys a ticket on March 7th has the ability to win, and we will be drawing that night.
Now, this is the part, you brought up the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Harley Race, Ted DiBiase, and Dan Severn all at the same time?
Never. I don't think it's ever happened
I don't think it
before.
ever has.
Which is very exciting, because you have different perspectives of the wrestling business, and then you've got Dan and his MMA experience. It's going to be quite something. And they have Bill Atmer, who's such a gentleman and so warm and funny, on his own right. It's going to be very entertaining, and I think the fans, any fans that are fans of these guys, fans of the traditions of the business, and want to know what it was like coming up on the road, will get a lot in that Q&A.
Now, this is also something that I want to bring up, because current day wrestling fans, especially millennials, and I hate to use that word, but it holds water now because it's now a part of the lexicon. But those who don't have a chance or who have not taken the opportunity, let me lay it out there like that, to go back and research legends like Harley Race. Everybody's sitting back going, John Cena, 15-time world champion. No, he's 15-time WWE champion. Let's get that right.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take it back to before it was fashionable to be referred to as a multi-time world champion. Race, in my book, was a genuine trendsetter in that particular regard. And here's the part about Harley Race. Worked all over the world. Respected as one of the consummate professionals in the world of professional wrestling. I've had a chance to speak with him courtesy of Wrestle Rage Radio here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Shameless plug. And to be able to sit back and listen to some of the things that he would say. And you would normally think, and read me correctly on this one, because there are sometimes when you ask certain people a question and they will give you the most abbreviated answer without just saying yes, no, maybe.
Right.
Harley was so open, genuine, and generous with the way that he would answer a question and tell a story that I'm going to sit back and say this. If you have a chance to genuinely sit down and speak with Mr. Race, it is not only as entertaining as the day is long, but it's also a genuine learning experience. Also, take that one step to the side as well. Ted DiBiase, a man who definitely, I want to use the word owned it in the in the territory system, whether it was Central States, whether it was Mid-South, whether it was Georgia, and then UWF, and then made the move to World Wrestling Federation at the time, made the move to the $1 Million Man. And the figure continued to grow. I made a reference to promos a little while ago. And and Ted DiBiase in my book is a man who, when he picked up the promo, you wanted to listen. He didn't make you listen. He made you want to listen.
And you can bank on it. You could bank on anything he said. You
True.
knew that the guy was going to deliver in the ring. You knew he was going to be his character. There was no doubt about it. When you got Ted DiBiase, you got Ted DiBiase. There was no flip-flopping. It was just, he was so good at what he did. The best guys in the business to watch are the ones that know who they are, and they know how to connect to the fans and get the best reaction, good or bad, out of that fan. And Ted is a master at that.
And to put part 3 of, and here's my favorite word, the trifecta in place. Professional wrestling star and legend, mixed martial arts legend and icon, Dan the Beast Severn.
You just can't ask for anything better.
You can't.
I mean, Dan he really is a force of nature, but he's a great guy. People are always surprised. When I met him years ago, I was also surprised, how personable he actually is.
Yes.
And you're thinking of this fierce guy who just dominated in the octagon, like, oh my God. But he's such a good guy, and I'm so honored to work with him. And he's got a lot to bring to this event, for the expo, for the Q&A, and for hosting. People were really surprised that was our choice, but I wouldn't have chose anyone else.
Dan Severn, genuinely a class act all the way across the board. And this is a person not only who manages his time very well professionally, but is also very giving as far as the charity side of life, and also very quick to step up when asked to show things as far as teach. Because if I remember correctly, one of the law enforcement agencies in his home market of Michigan, he's actually a special consultant for a couple, I think it's 2 different law enforcement agencies in Michigan.
Right. He does so much in the community, outside the business, outside the MMA world. He's very multifaceted and very smart. And it's just beginning for him. He's constantly innovating himself. It's incredible.
I'm going to shift just for a minute, and I'm going to insist that you go in. Well, not insist, but I'm going to ask you to go in. Well,
okay, let's go.
I was going to say, there is, as you know, from hearing previous episodes of whether it be Back to Basics or Beyond Ringside Live, I have one standing rule for all of our guests, especially when you've got an event such as this. I know you have sponsors.
Oh, yeah. We do. They're amazing.
And
do I get to name them now?
And the rule is, And the rule is be shameless. Go for it.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh, there's so many. TagMeADate.com, which I recommend wrestling fans who are single go out there and go and tag me a date. Because I swear, I wish that was around when I had time to date. It's like great. It's for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. You can't beat that. One at Equilibrium, Dr. Dave Reese is a great guy, very big supporter of us. The one bringing in Dan Severn, American Combat Elite. It's an incredible group in Wilmington that focus on personal training and protection, on how to protect yourself when you're out there. It's incredible. They're good guys. Gosh, the list could go on. Vapor Shack, Southeastern King Mackerel Club, full list of sponsors on our website. We've actually just signed some sponsors today. We are launching a launch party at Hell's Kitchen in Wilmington, North Carolina, Friday, March 6th. That's going to be fun from 9 to 12. Before that, we are going, I have to get my schedule right in my head. We're going to Walmart at Carolina Beach Road in Wilmington for Dan Severn appearance. And the day before that, we're going to Mac Daddy's in Cape Carteret, North Carolina. So we are very, very busy coming into North Carolina, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm very thankful for all our sponsors that have put their hard-earned money into Masters of Ring Entertainment and said, this is the product I want to endorse. We take that very seriously. We take the sponsor dollars seriously, and we take our fans investing in us very, very seriously. It's quite an honor. I personally write everyone that buys a ticket. It's something that I pride myself on because I want to personally thank the people that invest, whether it's $15 or $99. That means a lot to us.
Now, do me a favor before we go to the bottom of the hour break. And like I said, folks, for everybody listening on the live side on the 24th day of February, we're scheduled to be joined by professional wrestling legend Dr. Tom Pritchard in just a few minutes here on Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. And I was going to wait a little bit on this one, but I want to go and ask you to lay the groundwork for it now. You mentioned it in passing just a few minutes ago, and I believe the date is going to be Saturday, May 23rd.
Our second event. Our Tribute to Women in Wrestling. There's a Women in Wrestling Fan Expo, 10 to 5, and then 8 to 10, our actual tribute. Trish Stratus is headlining. We also have Amy Dumas as well. This is Trish's first appearance in North Carolina in over 10 years. Hopefully, I'll be invited back in a couple of months to talk about it. It's gonna be really, really, really fun. It's a personal thrill for me to have that event. I have such respect for what we're doing for Jim in March. I can't say that enough. But May has a personal connection for me because of how I was brought into the business. So I'm very honored for that to be happening this year.
And for the record, you'll be back on here long before then.
Sweet.
Because I'm gonna bring that up in probably in the break.
Hey, that's cool.
And longtime listeners are gonna sit back and go, he's gonna ask her to come on a rotating basis in the next few weeks, isn't he? Yes, he is.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows I miss this stuff. I mean, wrestling radio is so much fun. I miss having the interaction with the fans. It's just, I don't think I'm anything special at all, but I happen to enjoy talking about wrestling, and it's something I really, really am passionate about.
I give you the same thing now that I said back when I was listening to Shoot Finish. And by the way, you missed one of your co-hosts when you were talking about... Thank you!
Sorry, Mark. I love you. Mark is going to be at our event, actually, and he's a great guy. And he's part of the Just Cause Pro Wrestling Tournament, which we will be announcing in the upcoming days. So I'm very, very excited to have Mark a part of our show.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I know he's probably listening right now. If not, he's going to listen on the replay, and you're probably going to get a shot taken at you over on Twitter.
Oh boy, that's all I can say.
Well, folks, do me a favor. Hang tight. We are going to go to the bottom of the hour break. When Back to Basics rolls on, we are slated to be joined by professional wrestling legend Dr. Tom Pritchard. Hang with us. We'll be back right after this.
The To Be Determined Show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
This is Merciless Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist and board member of Find the Dream, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
Hey, half-heads, it's a 3-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. And just like me, you are locked in Beyond Ringside.
The music plays, the microphones go hot, and we are live. 22 before the top of the hour on this Tuesday night. Behind the control panel, yours truly, the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne, hosting Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. Like to welcome in tag team partner this evening, Bambi Weavil. Bambi, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
In the words of the classic hit from Mike Reno and Company, I'm loving every minute of it.
There you go.
And like to welcome in longtime friend and very special guest, the Doctor of Desire, Tom Pritchard. Mr. Pritchard, how you doing tonight?
I am doing great, with the exception of cold, ice, and snow in Knoxville, Tennessee. And if you're loving every minute of it, man, I've got to question your sanity, because I cannot stand cold weather. And listen, we were just talking a little earlier about you guys missing that cold and ice and snow for the last 5 times.
Yeah.
I think you guys are due in Birmingham, Alabama, for a nice little ice storm. And I hate to say that, because my wife is from Alabama, and I love Alabama, but it's about time you guys felt the same pain and pressure we're feeling right now in Tennessee. So that's how I'm feeling tonight.
You know, and this is the part for me. I am a January child by nature. I love the cold. Look, I love the beach probably more than most people you'll ever meet in your life. But by the same token, I also enjoy the cold. There's something invigorating about it. I can be stone cold asleep, so to speak. Walk outside, yes, burst of energy, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, there's cold, and then there's freezing cold, and then there's miserable freezing cold. And we've been in some miserable freezing cold for the last 3 weeks, man. I'm ready for this to be over. But I am ready to head to a nice, warmer climate in Wilmington, North Carolina on March 7th as well. And I know that things are going to be hot inside, if not outside. So that's what I'm looking forward to, man.
I think it's going to be pleasant outside, but I think it's going to be burning up hot on the inside, because on March 7th, you are going to be a part of Lasting Legacy, a tribute to Jim Cornette up in Wilmington, North Carolina. First off, you've worked with Mr. Cornette in how many different areas?
I worked with him in basically Smoky Mountain and WWF at the time. But I've known Jim since the early 80s, when he and I both started, and I was in Memphis, I believe it was 81 or 82. And that's where I first met Jim. And, we just had a roast for him, not too long ago in Winston-Salem. And I everybody got up. I think there were 3 people before me who kind of forgot it was a roast and pretty much gave Jim all these glowing praises and things like that. And it just, then I got up there and said something along the lines of, they asked me if I'd like to come and honor the greatest manager in the world. And my response was, I thought Paul Heyman was still in the contract. It was a roast, but, at the same time, I have to say that in reality, Jim Cornette is the greatest wrestling manager I've ever known. And Bobby Heenan is great. Jimmy Hart is great. I remember some managers from my childhood, Saul Weingroff, J.C. Dykes, who I thought were great. But getting to know Jim, and I know Paul as well, they're pretty close, but when it comes to the all-around personality and ethics, if you will, which is a strange word to throw around in professional wrestling and sports entertainment, I think Jim Cornette is head and shoulders above any of them. And I'm glad Charlie, and I know Bambi is a big part of that as well, the Masters of Entertainment are bringing a glowing tribute dinner called Lasting Legacy in Wilmington. So, I mean, what a better way to honor someone. And it seems to me, at this time in history, with all the social media and the instant gratification and ways to get in touch with people, we're still taking time to gather and honor and respect and pay tribute to people like Jim Cornette. And I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm very, very happy. And I hate to use the word honor because it's so cliched, but I am honored to be there. And it's going to be a great, great night.
Now, taking everything side by side, I mean, in pure stride, you have laid out a great body of work as a singles competitor. You've laid out a great body of work as a tag team competitor. I'm not going to ask you to pick and choose between the two because I know both of them have great aspects, and it's the art form of professional wrestling as a single and in a tag team. The dynamic is different, but the cause is the same. But if I were to ask you to pick a particular moment, especially from the tag team side of life, that really continues to stand out in your mind to this day, what would it be?
Oh, man, yeah. Look, again, it was my later years with tag team wrestling, and it was so cool when Jim asked me to be a part of Smoky Mountain, and it was when Jim Cornette called me. I was in Memphis, Tennessee, pretty much just existing, if you will, looking for Jerry Jarrett, and it wasn't a bad gig, but it wasn't a great gig. And when Jim called and asked if I'd like to be a part of Smoky Mountain Wrestling and part of his team with Stan Layne, I jumped at the opportunity, and I think that, for lack of a better word, would define that moment for me in the tag team part of my career. And of course, without Jim Cornette, without that link, without that step, I never would have got to WWE. And I think what happened with WWE helped me later on as well to be able to become a trainer, coach, and get involved in the other aspects of the business. So without taking that step with Jim, I don't think those other steps or those other aspects and elements would have been possible. So I think working with the Rock and Roll Express in Smoky Mountain, working with the Thrill Seekers, Chris Jericho and Lance Storm, Smoky Mountain was the last of the old school territories, and it came along at probably at the not necessarily the right time or the right moment, but I think we had a great crew, and that was all again due to Jim Cornette having a vision and wanting professional wrestling to be the way you like it and the way you remembered it. And unfortunately, not that many people wanted to come out and pay money to see it. So that's the driving force behind any business is financial aspects. You can't run for free. You have to make money.
Now, let me lay this one out there from me to you, because having watched you in so many different territories, especially the southeastern area over the years, I have always said, and as I learned more of the terminology as time's gone on, there's one thing that I've always said about Dr. Tom Pritchard, and he is money on the mic. How weird is it to go into a circumstance where I've heard you cut gold promos, make people want to buy tickets to come out there and see what happens? When you enter into a circumstance with a manager who is, and I'm just going to say, equally as eloquent on a microphone, how strange is it for you in that particular regard?
Not really, not that strange, because I got to tell you this, and I don't know how it's going to come off when I say it, but here, let me roll the dice. I've listened to some of my old promos and I've cringed. I don't know if we all do that or not, but you look and you go, oh my God, that was horrible. And then you look and you go, hey, well, you sound like Piper. Of course I sound like Piper. I admired Piper. He was a mentor. He was a great influence in my life. And then all of a sudden you just become a complete rip-off, and people perceive it that way, so it becomes that way. Jim was so cool and so real with everything he said, whether it was being entertaining, but he felt and meant every word he said on a promo. That was so, I don't want to say relief, but it was such a great thing to have, because it meant that while I enjoyed cutting promos, I didn't really think they were always the best. I thought, yeah, that might have been okay, but I've just had a chance to watch some old promos back, and I went, oh my God, that's, you cringe, and you go, geez, did I really do that? And you go, yeah, you really did that. So with Jim standing by our side and cutting those promos, it was pretty much, thank God, because he knew how to tell a story, and he knew how to captivate, and that was talent. If it was, here's the deal, lady, if you can call it money in the bank, then I would have made a lot more money, and there would have been a lot more places. I mean, for whatever reason, that didn't happen until I got with Cornette. So I was very fortunate and very happy to have him cutting those promos. And there is a story where he gave me a line, or I had a line I wanted to say in a promo, and I totally botched it. And, oh, man, he went back and redid it and edited it, and was very kind in doing that, because I look like a complete idiot. So I could go on and on talking about the promos, because I have a lot of critiques on those.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut you on that one because of one simple thing. As someone who used to come down to Boutwell Auditorium in the State Fair Arena and have watched you both on television and in live, I'm going to sit back and say, like I said, I've always enjoyed your work on the microphone, and I didn't look at you as the Piper thing. I always looked at you as an extension of yourself, because the conversations that you and I would have a couple of times as I was trying to make my foray into the world of pro wrestling, and you were always very kind, always very, very level-headed and very sometimes brutally honest about the way things were. And that's one thing that I've always respected about work, especially in the last couple of years when I've had a chance to work with you. It's kind of like I'm seeing this all over again. So I'm sitting back going, damn, this is cool.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate that. That is very quiet, and I do appreciate it. So I'm not trying to be cavalier about anything at all. I really do, man. But it's like, to be honest about it, I look at people now, and I look at the way business is, and the culture's changed, and the guys are so much more in tune and so much more in touch with what they need to do to connect. And maybe that's due to social media, and maybe it's due to the fact that there's more outlets to see what bone they need to touch and what vein they need to hit. And some guys do it, and some guys don't. And some I watch on Raw and SmackDown, and I just wonder what the attraction is. But at the same time, there has to be something there, because they're getting the real estate on that show. So there's a lot of talented guys out there, not all of them kids, but to this day, I still think whenever you see Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, they still have that magic, and that's something you can't teach, but you can learn from elements that they take and bring with them every time they step into the arena or step on the TV screen. And we did the same thing growing up. We watched the guys that we admired, and we talked to them, and we tried to gain any bit of knowledge we could, and we tried to gain a little bit of their magic, and sometimes they shared it, sometimes they didn't. But man, we had a lot of fun. And we're going to have fun on March 7th, too, by the way. I just want you to know, because I have a lot of things I can tell about Jim Cornette. Is it going to be PG?
Say what?
I said, is it going to be PG?
It will be. It will be a PG show.
As well it should be, because when Jim can't talk, we'll keep Jim in check.
So. I was going to ask if that Q&A was going to actually be television radio friendly, or if it was going to be Jim Cornette Unleashed on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
You never know. I will just say it is PG-13. To be fair.
Outstanding. Yeah, we can do that too. I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard his podcast or not, but he has a habit of sometimes being Jim Cornette Unleashed.
Yeah, I remember a couple of the ones that he did back when he would do one weekly or semi-weekly or bi-weekly is the word I'm thinking of, over on Podomatic when there was a show over there, and it was like 5 different ones. Bill Barron's had a day, Jim Cornette had a day, and a couple other people had a day. And I just listened to some of the things that Cornette would say on that particular venue, and it's like, wow, holy cow. And then I was almost a little panicky when he came on Beyond Ringside a few years back. It's like, did somebody remember to tell him that we run the rule of radio? It's like, yes.
Yeah, well, you have to know your audience, that's for sure. And Jim will know his audience. He's the one great thing I have learned about Jim in the last few years is he, we all get to that point, and if you haven't, you will. You get to that point where wrestling doesn't necessarily take first place, and you get burnt out. And once Jim just stepped away for about a year, and, took care of himself, lost some weight, and stopped stressing. I mean, he became a lot more mellow, and I think that was a good thing. So, I think we'll be PG-13 that night, or wherever we need to be. But don't be surprised if somebody agitates him and he goes off.
Let me put one.
I think he'll be fine.
Let me put one in the chamber for you right now. And we're still rule of radio over here, by the way. If there was one thing that you've thought of from the time that the roast occurred to right now that you wish you'd have said on that day, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Here's the thing. I was very apprehensive even doing a roast because I told the promoter beforehand that he's going to murder us in the end, and he did. There's nothing I could even think of, man. The best line I had was the Paul Heyman line, and I knew it was just one of those things that would resonate with not just the crowd, but it would resonate with Jim, because I know how he feels about Paul, and he likes Paul. Paul's a talented guy, there's no doubt about it. But, Paul Heyman will not hesitate to tell you that, hey, so I lied, so what? And Jim takes a little more pride in being a little more upfront. But honestly, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, man. It was, I think I got it all out that night. And but there's no roasting Jim because he's going to get the last word anyway. And he just he was on target. That was pretty much true.
I put you in a different perspective for 1 second. If you were in the audience at the Q&A without him knowing about it, and you stood up to ask a question knowing that it might push a button, what would it be?
Gosh, now you're putting me on the spot. I don't know that anything, because we had a conversation not too long ago, and I said, just don't say anything that you don't want getting back. And Jim said, well, look, there's nothing I really care about getting back to anybody these days. It just doesn't matter. So, I mean, I don't know, even about the past, if it means that much to him. Well, what do you think of Terry Landell? Who's your daddy? Who's a Knoxville promoter here. I hate to give him any press, but he's a guy who likes to, he's like, do you remember the old Andy Griffith show?
Oh, very well.
Ernest T. Bass.
Oh, boy.
That's Terry Landell. He's Ernest T. Bass of Tennessee. He's like the guy who, he'll get right up in your face, but if you get back in his face, he's like a cowering dog. And, Cornette and he just haven't seen eye to eye for years, but it's, that might set him off. You don't want to do that, and I wouldn't do that, but since you're talking about it, yes, I guess I did. And there's all kind of characters like that, not just in Tennessee, but all over wrestling, who just feel that they, because they've lived in their hometown all their life and they've never gone out of it, and they've promoted wrestling, that they're the only thing that matters, and that was the crazy thing that happened when all the commissions were done away with, I guess, because anybody can come in and promote wrestling. So
You are listening to Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics on this 24th day of February. Fast Eddie Layne, Bambi Weavil, welcoming in very special guest, Dr. Tom Pritchard. One of the things we're discussing this evening is Saturday, March 7th, 2015 in Wilmington, North Carolina. At the Coastline Convention Center, it is going to be Lasting Legacy, a tribute to Jim Cornette. Dr. Tom Pritchard slated to be there in attendance. Also, the Midnight Express of Bobby and Stan, Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express, more than seven. I apologize for the number, and Harley's going to kill me for that. Multi-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, King of the Ring, and Hall of Famer Harley Race is going to be there. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Master of Ceremonies, the Ultimate, Dan Severn. I've got the question. And go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say I am really looking forward to Dan hosting this. I really am.
And that was actually one of my that's side by side. If there is someone you haven't seen for a while who is on this show, who will be there for this live event, who are you most looking forward to hanging out with?
Well, I've actually I've seen DiBiase at Wrestle King. I just saw Stan and Bobby. And I've seen pretty much everybody there, but Dan Severn I haven't seen in a while, and it'll be good to see Dan. It'll be good to see Harley. It's always good to see Harley, the 8-time World Heavyweight Champion, by the way. And I just had an opportunity to do a seminar on Harley's camp along with Bobby. So all the guests there are going to be great. And again, it's so great for me, from a personal standpoint, to be able to do things like this and get to see people. You know, I got to do Fan Fest in Charlotte last year with Jimmy Del Rey and Jim Cornette myself together for the first time in over 20 years.
Yeah.
And then in December, Jimmy passes away. You know, we got the chance to reconnect and reconcile, and it's so great now that these kind of events are happening, and March 7th couldn't be a better person to honor and pay tribute to and say things that you might not be able to say to them one-on-one. You can say them in front of a crowd and say them in front of a large audience and mean every bit of it, but it doesn't, you know, you don't have to call them up and say, hey, Jim, listen, I just want to tell you I'm thinking about you, I love you, and I care about you, and thank you for everything you've done in my career, everything you've done in my life, which is sincere and true, and not only will he be able to hear it, but people who admire him and understand what he might have touched their lives the same way that he's touched some of the guys he's worked with in the same way. I think that's great to be able to share that with Jim and with fans and friends alike.
And it's also a great opportunity for you to be able to share some of the experiences you've been through as well, not just with Jim, but also in your own personal career. Now, I'm going to ask you, before we head to the top of the hour break, before I let you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night, I'm going to ask you one sneaky one. If there is one story from the road that you feel comfortable passing along to everybody, what would it be?
God. What would that be? Oh, man. I got to tell you, I've been asked that so many times, man, but I don't know if there's one from Cornette that I can tell right now. And I mean, the best one is with Bradshaw and Dutch. You know, gosh. There's so, you know, that's why people said, why don't you write a book? And I said, I've tried to write a book, but I get stuck on this one part where I can't tell this without telling that. But if I tell that, then, ooh, well, statute of limitations are up yet or not. So, and I kid about that, but anyway, how long do we have? I mean, is it the top of the hour? Do you have to take a break now, Fast Eddie, or what?
We can go a couple more minutes. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, no. I mean, real quick, coming back from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, I guess it was. I'm riding with Bradshaw and Dutch, and it's a foggy night, and it's my turn to drive, and I just want to get to the next town, and I'm ready to go, and I'm driving, man. I'm going about 85 miles an hour in the fog, and Bradshaw's sitting up front with me, and Dutch is in the back, and Dutch never drove anyway, but I mean, I'm hauling to get there, and finally Bradshaw's looking at me, and he says, "Can you see anything?" And I nonchalantly looked over and says, "Not a thing." I said, "Why, are you scared?" He goes, "No, I'm terrified." And it was like a movie. It was on cue. So he said, "I'm terrified." I hit a pothole and blew out the back tire. And we hobbled off to the side of the road, and there was a rest area maybe 2 miles up. We hobbled to the rest area and got out, and Bradshaw claims I ran into a ditch, but it was a pothole in the middle of the road. And we went out, and I got Jack and noticed that the nuts were stripped, the bolts were stripped.
Uh-oh.
Dutch got the Jack and bolts were stripped for him too, and Bradshaw looked at it and says, "You idiot, you got to take off the hubcap." So anyway, we didn't take off the hubcap. There's a better story when Bradshaw tells it. He gets a little more involved. We're up against the break, so I didn't want to take too long. And it's not that funny either, Eddie, but it's just you had to.
No, it's something I've done before.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's something I've done before too, but it's not that hard to figure out. There's a hubcap on there, and you have to take it off before you can change the tires. So that's just a tame story from the road. The other ones I have to think about, and I really have to dwell on it. I wasn't there for the Dairy Queen incident with Cornette. You're familiar with that, I'm sure. You're familiar with the Dairy Queen incident?
I'm gonna go ahead and ask this. Can you stay with us through the break?
Well, sure I can.
Well, tell you what, do me a favor. Folks, we're going to go to a quick one for the top of the hour. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. Back to Basics rolls on right after this.
This is Jeff Damon from Deadliest Wear on Spike TV. Hit me up on my website at www.jeffdamon.com. You're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hey, this is Stuart Couch from the Cause and Effect Thursday Night Throwdown. Catch us here every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Awesome Austin Creed, the smartest man in this industry called pro wrestling, the valedictorian of this business. You are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne.
And I'm the Cause, Robert Cosper.
And this is your invitation to join us
and the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock, right here for the Saturday Showcase.
That's Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. See? We do math around this place. Be sure to catch us right here on BeyondRingside.com. You can also listen through WinAmp for Android and BlackBerry, as well as the Shoutcast mobile app for Apple as well. Remember, that's Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
And let me tell you how you can find the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock on social media. It's very easy. It's at www.kissmyass.
Whoa. Stop that right there. Folks, we'll see you Saturday on the Showcase. Bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside. And you are a better person for it. Trust me.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
Hey everyone, my name is Bryce Remsburg. I'm the Chikara Senior Official, and wherever I am in the world, be it on the phone or the internet, there's no place I'd rather be than locked in to Beyond Ringside.
ready to ride on a Tuesday night. 11 after the top of the hour, Back to Basics continues in a multiple location station this evening, live from Birmingham, Alabama. Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne in Studio 1. Coming at us live from the Big Apple this evening, tag team partner for the evening, Bambi Weavil. What's going on?
Not much. I'm here having a great time on Beyond Ringside. Back to Basics.
And like to welcome in all the way from the Volunteer State, good friend and professional wrestling legend, the Dr. Tom Pritchard. The Dr. Tom Pritchard. I was trying to say the Doctor of Desire, and I screwed it up. Dr. Tom Pritchard, glad to have you back.
Well, what happened was I screwed it up by interrupting you by saying I really hate that Birmingham's going to get a hard freeze tonight from what I'm understanding. But I hope not.
You are hoping we get this one, don't you?
Listen, man, we've been dealing with it in Tennessee for the last 3 weeks, and I'm just hoping somebody else really gets cold besides me.
Look, we've had...
I know Bambi's cold in New York, man. They're getting some winter, too, I think.
Yeah, we've this snow has not left the ground since I've been back in January, so I've seen nothing but snow for about a month and a half.
Now,
so you guys are due. You guys are due, Eddie. I hope you get it.
Hey, we've had 24, 21, 19, 18-degree low temperatures. We've just escaped the snowbird. That's all I can say.
Well, we're expecting some more snow tomorrow night, and I know New York's not going to be out of it for a while either, so I think Birmingham's about ready for it, and that's all I'm going to say about the bad weather, so don't jinx you guys. How about that?
You can't jinx me. You can't jinx me. I've dodged the bullet 5 times. I'm going to get up and go to work tomorrow and do absolutely nothing.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Which I don't know if y'all have a chance to see some of the things that have gone around on social media, and this is something I want to bring up to both of y'all for a hot second. I saw it on Twitter coming out of last night, going into this morning, and someone had posted in perfect position. Roman Reigns was in ring, I guess, during his match with Daniel Bryan. I turned off the show going into the 3rd hour. I'm sorry, I had to. But they posted on Twitter, Reigns in ring, and somebody behind him in the crowd holding up a sign saying, "If Roman Reigns wins, we go home afterwards."
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Wow.
And I remember all the signs saying, especially ECW One Night Stand, if Cena wins, we riot. And it's like, how many different ways can people put signs out there, and how many different things can they do? And all of a sudden they put up, "If Roman Reigns wins, we go home afterwards." It's like, damn, that's just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I think understating is pretty much the vogue now, I guess. I don't know, man. I've really tried to stop trying to overanalyze, because I just drove me nuts too.
Well, it's like in my world, I get a chance to watch, and this is something, I don't watch with a critical eye. I watch with an honest eye. And I watch WWE product. I watch Ring of Honor. While they were on MAV TV, I watched Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I watch Lucha Underground. And I try on different web sources to watch different programs like Ohio Valley Wrestling and some of the others that are out there, Championship Wrestling or CIW, Championship International. And I still enjoy seeing different people putting their own unique spin on certain things. I've said this for years. Professional wrestling in and of itself is one of the most environmentally friendly organizations, industries, and lifestyles out there, because we don't hesitate to recycle.
Well, very true. But here's my take on that. I believe there's a lot of talented people out there who don't always get an opportunity to show what they have in front of the mass audience or larger audience. So I'm glad for social media. I'm glad that people do get an opportunity to check out places, especially like OVW, which I happen to have a hand in here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We have a program called Great American Wrestling, which is promoted by a fellow by the name of Chris Lash, and we are using the Ohio Valley Wrestling Television to put it on Fox 43 here in Knoxville, and people here in Knoxville will now get a chance to see the talent that OVW has, and they're getting exposed to some different wrestling and people that haven't been in East Tennessee for a while, if ever. So, I do agree with you in the fact that it can be organically appreciated by various audiences with the different venues we have, from the internet to just take an opportunity of a chance to be seen somewhere else. So talent won't be stopped. I mean, if you have the talent, you'll be found, and somebody's going to offer you something. It's up to you to take it, I think. But it is up to the talent to get their name out there. And speaking of some of the talent, are you familiar with the Washington Bullets?
John and Trey Williams.
Yes, I think they're fantastic. They've been wrestling since 2007.
Yep.
They've got some work to do. They're polished. They need to be polished, but those two guys, I think, have raw potential. And a lot of the talent in WW is working on being polished. Ali Valez, Michael Hayes, not the Michael Hayes, but the Michael Hayes, not the Freebird Michael Hayes.
Right.
You know Michael Hayes. Anyway, and I didn't mean to steal what you were saying or run off.
No, you're fine.
But I just wanted to agree with you that, yeah, I mean, professional wrestling in its purest form, when you have talent, you have people who love it and have that passion, it pretty much is infectious. And that's how I became a wrestling fan, by watching talented, passionate performers. And that's what made me want to do this. So, you know what, man? I mean, it's the culture has changed, and it's not going to go back to what it was. But I think you can restore the passion. And I think, regardless of what people think of him, Triple H is an old school guy, and he has some old school people around him that really want to bring back wrestling. But it's going to take time. It's going to take re-education too. So. In the meantime, you do have social media, and you do have other venues that you can watch, like Hulu and Roku. And by the way, I'm doing a new Roku show, the Office Visit, on Logan's World on Roku, starting in March. Just want to plug that real quick. And we'll have some various topics we'll talk about on that show as well.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Before we went to break... go ahead.
No, I was going to say, stop me before I go too far. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was going to say, before we both forgot, before we went to break, you made a reference to there was another story you wanted to pass along.
Well, have you not heard about the Dairy Queen story with Jim Cornette?
That I have not heard.
Wow. Okay, well, I can't, this is again, not PG, and I can't really tell it, but if you're interested, just type in YouTube, Jim Cornette Dairy Queen incident.
Okay.
And it'll come up. But it is, I think, suffice to say, entertaining for what it's worth, and a very famous time in Jim's life. So, anyway,
but
obviously not famous if you ever heard about it, right?
I've heard about it, but I've never heard it.
Oh, well, it's interesting. They ordered a lot of food because there's people in the van like Jericho and Storm and some people from. Fan week that week, and they get to the window, and the lady thinks it was a rib because they're ordering like over $60 worth of food in this small little West Virginia town where nobody orders anything over $20, I guess. And when they get to the window, they haven't even started this order, and Cornette just goes ballistic. And in true Jim Cornette fashion, gets out and is gonna come through the window, and he uses a few choice words, and words that we can't use on the radio or at the dinner on March 7th. But anyway, be that as it may, there's Jim is no stranger to controversy, and if you've read the book, the Midnight Express scrapbook, you know he talks about a lot of incidents in there, and even with the Heavenly Bodies, there were incidents. Not as famous and not as outrageous as, well, probably as outrageous, but just not as infamous, let me say, as he was when he was with Bobby and Dennis and Bobby and Stan. But Jim is never lost for words, even to this day.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you what I like to call the 3-2 pitch. And it's a little bit of a different question. But the easy way is to lay it out there like this. From the time that you've started to this moment right now, What has pro wrestling, in and of itself, taught you about yourself?
It taught me that I could do whatever I wanted to do, but it also taught me that I should have tried a lot harder because I was pretty much just cruising. Really, when I started wrestling, man, it was I didn't get in it for the money, and I just got in it because this was all I ever wanted to do. Once I got in it, I found out, wow, okay, if I could do this, geez, I could do pretty much anything. I mean, for over 30 years of my life, I never had a job. It's just wrestling. And it was just the last 5 years, I guess, or the last years with WWE when it became more of a job, and it wasn't as fun. It was still fun, but you know, things have changed, and it's more of a corporate run business, which it should be. But it sure wasn't what I signed on to and signed up for when I got it in the beginning. But I did learn that I could, with perseverance, you can do whatever you want. That's one thing I learned about myself. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And then when you get to that point, I guess, or let me say this, I got to that point in life where I just said, yeah, I'm happy being here. And you can't be happy or just happy to be there. You have to have a little more drive, and you have to if you want to do that, if you want to step out and be a major superstar. But I was very happy with what I had, and I was happy with who I knew and what I got to do. And I got to tell you, man, Birmingham and Pensacola and that part of the area, or that part of the country, was probably my favorite, one of my favorite territories in all of Smoky Mountain to work. So I learned that I could do whatever I wanted and have a great time doing it.
As someone who's a Birmingham native and who has watched you, like I said, at Boutwell Auditorium, the State Fairgrounds Arena, and a number of different venues, and watched you in different programs with different people, one of the things that I can always sit back and say, regardless, and I'll say this, whichever side of the fence you might have been working at that particular point in time, you always made it fun. And that's... Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but the thing is, I hate to keep cutting you up, but the thing is, we were having fun.
Yeah.
And I think when you were having fun, people could tell that you were having fun. And trust me, man, I don't kid myself or anybody else where I was not. We worked when I first got there, Boutwell and those places were doing very well. But again, it was that time in the business where things were starting to change. We knew that it was a territory, it was a region, and we were just happy to be in that region. And I think people could read that, you know. And the people in Alabama loved wrestling.
Yes.
I mean, regardless, they appreciated when guys went out and were wrestling and passionate about what they did, I believe. And you had the Fullers, you had Tommy and Johnny Rich, you had the Armstrongs. My God, man! So you had Jerry Stubbs.
Yep.
It was a great time, great crew. And Alabama always seemed to have that good old fashioned southeastern wrestling. Let me ask you this, Eddie: were you there when the Bullet dropped the elbow on Ron Fuller when he was wrestling Ric Flair for the NWA Championship?
I thought that actually took place up in Knoxville.
Well, it probably did, but I thought it was also. Didn't they do the angle in Birmingham too, where he came in as a Bullet?
I've seen it. Well, I've seen that angle. I've seen it on television, but I thought that actually took place up in Knoxville.
Maybe it did. I thought it was Boutwell. Okay, there we go.
And speaking of Bullet and Flair, and Boutwell Auditorium, there was one night in particular where Bullet went 48 to a 60-minute time limit draw with Nature Boy Ric Flair in front of a jam-packed Boutwell Municipal Auditorium. And you've heard the commercial. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. That's exactly
right.
And that's what I've seen so many times in Boutwell at the State Fairgrounds Arena. And, you know, there were a couple of storylines. God, did I just say that word? Shoot me, please. There were a couple of feuds that you were a part of that had people standing up on their feet.
Well, I think again it was that opportunity to be there with when Robert and Jimmy put me as their doctor, it was just an opportunity to be around those guys and be in that atmosphere and be in that environment. And it was a whole, you can't dance by yourself. So whether it was with the Dirty White Boy or Brad or Tim Horner, I got to give Tim Horner credit too, because he's one of the first guys I worked with when I got in there.
Yeah.
But when Robert and Jimmy brought me on as their doctor, that was where I became Dr. Tom, and they gave me an opportunity to work with different guys in that spot. So. I was in my mid-20s when I got there, man, and that's pretty much when they were trying to groom you, and I was just happy to be there and having such a great time. I didn't want to go anywhere else. So the Alabama fans were always great because I got hit with a cane in Belleville Auditorium one night.
Yes.
I don't know if you were there, but Brad, this guy in the front row, old man, hit me with his cane, and right upside my head on my ear, man. And I didn't want to press charges, but the next Monday, Ronnie West called me and said that the cops would like me to come down to the courthouse because this old man was giving them problems, and so I had to go down to the court. And I told him, I really don't want to press charges. He says, yeah, but he's giving us some grief, so we just want to try and scare him. So I showed up, and I didn't press charges, but they banned him from the Boutwell for, I think, a month because he came back, and Boutwell was going down anyway. I think we went over the fairgrounds, and I never saw him again. But it was pretty cool, man. I mean, it was very cool. And man, it was a great time. It was a great place. It was great talent.
And I think one of the things that we can always agree upon is the factor of when you have genuine wrestling fans, the operative word is passion. And I'm hoping that you are going to see a lot more of fans with that same passion Saturday, March 7th, Wilmington at the Coastline Convention Center. Lasting legacy. A tribute to Jim Cornette. Our guest at this time, Dr. Tom Pritchard, one of the stars who is going to be a part of this great expo, and a great opportunity to get up close with some of the legends and some of the most notable names, as I like to say, in this world. I'll do the drinking game later. In this business of pro wrestling, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Ted DiBiase, Harley Race, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, Stan Layne, Bobby Eaton, The Strove. A lot of people are going to remember him from World Championship Wrestling. Robbie E., Rob Eccles, and a host of other great stars that are going to be there. And I know that we've got a little bombshell that we're going to be dropping in just a little while. Bambi, do you want to do that now, or do you want to wait?
Let's let them wait a little bit longer.
Okay, we can do that. Now, check out mastersofringentertainment.com, the primary website. It'll have a link to where you can find tickets. You'll get a chance to see a little bit closer some of the stars that are going to be there. And believe me, if there was any way possible, I would be in Wilmington on March 7th. It wouldn't be safe. We would have fun.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be running for cover on this one.
But definitely, first off, Mr. Pritchard, it has been an honor having you back on. I always enjoy the opportunity to sit down and speak with you in this forum. Also, when I get a chance to work with you at the live events, it's always a great time. You're always fun to hang out with, always cool. To use the word I use, he's cool people. And that
is what say that one more time?
He's cool people.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Some people say good people. I say cool people. There's a difference.
Yeah. Very cool. I like it.
Now, before we let you run and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, first off, thank you again for being so generous with your time. It is greatly appreciated. I know that you've got. Do you have any other upcoming events that you'd like to pass along to everybody?
Well, I do want to mention just one thing, and that's April 11th in Milton, Florida. There's going to be a Brad Armstrong Memorial.
Okay.
It's going to be benefiting Brad's daughter Jillian, and his wife Lori will be there. I believe it's going to be at the Milton Civic Center. I'm not quite sure, but I know there's information on Facebook about it, and you can Google easy for me to say. Google, I think, Brad Armstrong Memorial in Milton, Florida. I believe this is the third Milton Memorial for Brad. So anybody in that area, I know we're talking in Birmingham, but there might be people listening elsewhere. It'd be a great opportunity to see some of the old school guys from Continental Wrestling in that area, and one was the Armstrong, Steve, and Bullet, and I believe Brian Road Dogg is going to try to make it.
Okay.
If he's not on the road, not with WWE at that night. But either way, April 11th in Milton, Florida. If you get a chance, come on out. Have a good time.
And I'll say it on air just as quickly as I'll say it off air. If you put me in touch with the people who are putting everything together, I'll be more than happy to try to bring them on.
Fantastic. You got it, man. I'll let them know.
And I know you're very visible on social media. How can everybody track you down on social right now?
I am on Facebook, Tom Pritchard on Facebook. That is me. I don't post a whole lot, but I do post if you send me a message, or we'll make every effort to answer it. And I'm on Twitter at Dr. Tom Pritchard. So if you want to send a message, just reach out. Always appreciate it. And it's all good, man. I mean, social media is all good. It's a way to keep in touch with it, let everybody know what's going on.
Tom, thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you back, brother.
Fast Eddie, anytime. And Bambi, looking forward to seeing you on March 7th, man. Can't wait.
Same here. See you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest at this time, Dr. Tom Pritchard, has once again gone beyond ringside. Hang with us. We'll be back right after this.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
Hey everyone, this is the Cause, Robert Cosper, host of Cause and Effects Thursday Night Radio Throwdown. This is your invitation to join me, along with the Effects Stuart Couch, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, and all of the craziness that is C&E, right here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. It's wrestling radio with a twist, and some might just say with a twist of lime when the bar is open. Cause and Effect, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Hey, this is Stan Grubb for Wrestle Rage Radio, right here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for myself and Smart Rage as we discuss the professional wrestling business from WWE, TNA, and all things in between. We'll have an interview here or there. We'll see what we can do to just keep you entertained, and along the way, we're going to have to bring up some emotion and make you think. That's what we like to do. So join us here on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you at Wrestle Rage.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside. And you are a better person for it. Trust me.
And welcome back to Basics Live. Tuesday night, this 24th day of February. I want to give a very special thank you to Dr. Tom Pritchard for hanging out this evening on the Tuesday Conversation, part of Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. Fast Eddie Layne, live from Studio One, hanging out this evening, all the way from New York. Bambi Weavil with the Masters of Ring Entertainment. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. This has been fun. I can't imagine being anywhere else on a Tuesday evening.
Careful what you're setting yourself up for.
Oh, I know. Choose my words carefully.
I dropped that hint a little earlier on air.
Yeah, I hear that. And it really would be fun. It's just nice because it's not just you watching the product, it's you talking about the product, with other people. And Tom's a great guest, and it's nice to hear his perspective on the business.
Now, speaking of, and one of the things we've been talking about tonight, of course, is Saturday, March 7th, a tribute to Jim Cornette, Lasting Legacy, up in Wilmington, North Carolina. You said you had a couple of little surprises you wanted to drop.
Yeah, it's not something talked about too much, but during the expo, during the day, 10 to 5, we also have some guest vendors coming in. The great J.J. Dillon, WWE Hall of Famer, as well as Bobby Fulton, brought in by WrestleCade, the fine folks at WrestleCade. So it's going to be really cool to have JJ in the area. I don't know if he's ever been to Wilmington. I'm sure he has, but if it has, it's probably been 20-plus years since he's been to Wilmington. And Bobby Fulton, of course, was a regular tag team specialist, so I'm sure he's worked at the Carolinas. So it's going to be cool to have him there.
Very cool. Now, remind everybody real quick, you've got different price points for different parts of the event that are going to be taking place on the 7th. But in addition to that, you've also got another contest. You've got a contest that is going to be going on during the expo.
The contest. Quite honestly, it's the contest. I consider it the Super Bowl contest, basically. Every person that buys a ticket, no matter it's the expo or Lasting Legacy, which is the evening event, you have a chance to win a trip to WrestleMania. If you buy one ticket, it's one entry. If you buy VIP tickets, it's so many entries. And so, you buy one ticket, you have a chance to go to San Francisco, and you bring a friend. So it's flight, it's hotels, and tickets. It's a once-in-a-lifetime dream trip. I don't know a single person anywhere in the United States offering this trip that's an independent wrestling company. So it's very exciting. I'm very excited about this because I know that so many people dream of going to WrestleMania. Have you been to WrestleMania, Eddie? I don't even know.
I have not been to a WrestleMania.
It is, I've been very fortunate in my career. I've been able to go. This is my third or fourth WrestleMania now. Fourth coming up in San Francisco, San Jose. And it is an experience. As a fan, you walk in and you see what the WWE puts on. No matter what you feel about the product, WWE puts on quite a setup, in terms of how they lay out the events, the professionalism of their staff, the flow of the crowd. Everything they do is so spot on. And then you sit during WrestleMania. Well, before that, you go to the Hall of Fame. You sit during the Hall of Fame. You hear the stories. Go to WrestleMania, and you've got this ginormous set. And you're surrounded by people from all over the world. Because I've been in elevators where I would ask a fan, where are you from? And it was always somewhere else. It was definitely from another country in Europe somewhere. And that blew my mind because, as a fan growing up, you think, oh, wow, I'm just this kid from North Carolina watching wrestling and I love it. And I've got classmates that love it. But you just sort of don't make the connection. This is such a worldwide product that it is truly a pop culture phenomenon what the WWE has done with pro wrestling that we all benefit from today. So, long story short, going to WrestleMania is quite epic. And I'm very excited that we get to provide this for the fans.
Now, actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw you a curveball. You said you're going to be at Santa Clara, right?
I am.
Then I have a special challenge if you were up for it that day.
Okay. What is it?
Because, and I'll throw this one out especially for our friends here in our home market of Birmingham, Alabama. Buffalo Wild Wings in Trussville, Alabama is going to be showing WrestleMania this year. They have made it a commitment. They will be showing the pay-per-view, high-def big screens all around. And if you haven't been to Buffalo Wild Wings Trussville lately, they have the brand new Stadia floor plan set up. Now, a lot of people are going to sit back and go, well, what the hell is that? For longtime friends of B-Dubs in Trussville, you remember how that place looked. It was a beautiful place to begin with. I walked in the other day, and I just finally had a chance to see the remodel of this place, and oh, boy. People talk about having their caves. This is how I would want the Ed Cave to look. Plain and simple. You got screens all over the place, and I'm talking high-def big screens. Memorabilia, of course. Buffalo Wild Wings has always been big on the memorabilia, especially on a local and or national level. You know, different teams from different areas, especially homegrown stuff. But by the same token, I walk around and I'm looking at this going, you've taken exactly what I wanted to do, because they had some of the walls got changed to where they have that brick and mortar feel to it on the inside rather than just paint and paneling or paint and wallpaper. And it's like you genuinely almost feel like you're walking into a more sports environment rather than a bar environment.
That sounds amazing. I've never heard of a theater seating style Buffalo Wild Wings before. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of the B-Dubs locations are going to be getting this new setup. And I think Trustful was, I believe, the first one to get it in our home market of Birmingham. But Trustful, of course, will be showing WrestleMania, and Beyond Ringside, the family of shows, will have representatives there in Trustville at Buffalo Wild Wings. We are going to be throwing a WrestleMania party. So I'm asking you if you're up for it, if situations prevail. We're going to be going live from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock Central, 6 to 8 your time. So that is going to end up being 3 to 5 local yes, 3 to 5 local time before Mania kicks off.
Okay.
So if you're up for doing a call-in or two, love to have you come on board.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Let's see how the day goes. It's the schedule at Mania is always insane, but I'm up for it.
Oh yeah, you going to Hall of Fame also?
Oh yeah, I the whole works. See, when you do WrestleMania, you should do it right, which means hit up everything, take it all in. But don't ignore the city you're in too. I mean, San Jose, San Francisco is going to be. I've never actually been in San Jose itself, but I love San Francisco, so I'm looking forward to this.
San Fran was a lot of fun. I was out there back in 1989 and had a chance to do all the sights. I was out there for a week, did a lot of sightseeing, made it up to wine country. Oh boy.
It's just cool. And then Dallas next year, like WrestleMania. I mean, talk about, I'm just trying to imagine what that's going to be like to be in Dallas in that gigantic stadium, the Cowboy Stadium. I'm just going to be crazy.
I'm looking forward to Dallas even more so than I'm looking forward to Santa Clara. And I think it's because that Texas has even stronger. Now, California, I'm not going to take anything away from the Golden State. Mm-hmm. They have a number of different cities that are entrenched in pro wrestling history. And I know we're talking WWE versus pro wrestling, but you've had a chance to speak with me on previous occasions. You know that my heart runs to the roots of pro wrestling, to the traditions, back to the standards. And I know that California, all the way from LA, San Diego, San Jose, all the way up, Sacramento, there's a tremendous base in pro wrestling in the state of California. And so I know that longtime wrestling fans are going to enjoy Mania. But also looking forward to 2016, Texas, the AT&T Arena. I mean, think about it. The pro wrestling roots of San Antonio, of Houston, of Dallas-Fort Worth. And it's
goosebumps. It's goosebumps worthy just thinking about it. Like, it's just going to be on a level of its own. It's going to really surpass, I think, a lot of the WrestleManias, in the past 3-4 years. Even though, I was in person in New York, New Jersey. Nothing against that. It's my home area now, but Texas is just going to be incredible. It's going to blow the roof off. I mean, it's just, I can't. The standard and expectation for that particular WrestleMania is going to be higher than most.
Now, got a question. Since you've been up there, have you had a chance to catch up with some of the other organizations that come through there?
A little bit, not as much as I would like. Promoting and getting an event together and building a promotion is a 24/7 cycle for my partner and I. And we spend very early days and very late nights. So coming out of my apartment to look at other promotions is pretty rare. But when I can, I do. And it's important to support independent wrestling. I'm very passionate about that. WWE has a strong hold on the industry. There's TNA, there's Ring of Honor. But independent wrestling is still the lifeline of wrestling. It is where a lot of the workers get their living and their income, and fans can support a product that isn't on TV yet.
Yeah, because I know that Ring of Honor has been up to New York a couple of times in the last couple of years, and they finally made it back down to my neck of the woods in Atlanta, Georgia this past Saturday night. Had a blast in Norcross at the North Atlanta Trade Center. Like I said, you heard me during segment 1, had a chance to really get a chance to talk to some great wrestling fans and also a number of great talents who were there. I mean, to be able to hang out with, and I don't know if you're going to know a lot of these names, but I know that you're on Facebook and you're on Twitter, so you've had a chance to see myself, Wicked Nemesis, Mabo, Smart Rage, a lot of the people with the Beyond Ringside family of shows. Talk to some of these other people like Do or Die Chip Day, Murder One, Sugar Dunkerton, Danny Only. So many different stars that I had. If they would have taken all the talent that was in the stands that night, not necessarily, there weren't stands, it was all chairs, but all the talent that was there that wasn't booked, they could have easily put together 8 more and I'll say this, incredible matches.
That's awesome. I mean, and what was your perspective? I mean, in terms of your takeaway from Ring of Honor, what talent stood out to you? From a fan perspective.
Looking at it from a fan perspective and not from a worker's perspective, I have to sit back and say this: everybody left it in the ring. There were no dry moments. There were no dead moments. Everybody knew that they needed to step up, and everybody rose to the challenge. I mean, it didn't matter if it was Jay Lethal, it didn't matter if it was Roderick Strong, it didn't matter if it was AJ Styles, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, the Kingdom. I mean, everybody laid it out there that night, and it's really kind of hard to say which one I thought would have been the match of the night, other than possibly the 6-person scramble. And okay. Because to set up a match like that, one-on-one is a beautiful thing. Tag team wrestling, I love it. But when you have an opportunity for a 6-person scramble, almost lucha rules in that particular regard, where you got 2 people in the ring, if one goes out, another person can step in without a tag. Okay. And you just have so many different possibilities for the physical dynamic of a match like that. And all 6 people who were in that ring just absolutely, they didn't just light it up, they lit a blowtorch.
Wow. And was this Ring of Honor's first time in the area?
They've been to Atlanta before. They've been to the Southeast before. They haven't made it to my hometown of Birmingham yet, which I'm really looking forward to if they ever get over here, which is funny because the fact of the matter is Atlanta is syndicated for Ring of Honor. We've got a Sinclair affiliate over here. It's like, tag, we're it.
Right? Huh. That's great. I mean, I'm happy to hear Ring of Honor is catching on in the Southeast, because I really hadn't heard them doing much down there. So it's great.
The numbers have been building because I'll tell you the truth. We have a lot of interaction, especially BR Live, with folks here in our home state of Alabama, as well as Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Mississippi, and we have a chance to spread the word. It's like, if you get a chance to catch this product, catch this product.
Right.
Because it will renew a lot of what you fell in love with pro wrestling for. Yes, there's a lot of high-flying stuff. Yes, there's a lot of flippy-dippy, there's that word again, stuff. I almost broke my own rule. Almost dropped out that fecal matter reference, but I decided not to. Yeah, there you go. But, yeah, you're going to see a lot of the flippy-dippy stuff, but by the same token, you're also going to see good old-fashioned grassroots professional wrestling. And this is where I'm going to make a hard right segue. Because also for our friends in Central Alabama, Western Georgia, this Saturday night, Pell City, Alabama, my home promotion, Global Championship Wrestling, at the Pell City Civic Center. Bell time is going to be 7:30 p.m. Doors are going to open at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $10 each for this great outing. It is going to be the... Dog, don't kill me. I forgot what number it is. The Junkyard Dog Memorial Tag Team Tournament. The owner of the company was trained by Junkyard Dog. And obviously a huge impact on the way that he handled his career. Because Global Championship Wrestling strives to constantly bring wrestling fans the absolute best of wrestling's past, present, and future. They bring in legends at the drop of the hat. They've got some great stars operating under their banner, and they work to try to help cultivate the stars of tomorrow. They do everything, and they do it right. And this Saturday night, the JYD Memorial Tag Team Tournament, I know of 8 teams that are already booked into the first round. I know that the main event is going to be the GCW Heavyweight Championship on the line as the real deal AJ Steele defends against the Complete Wrestling Machine Spiral. These 2 men tore it up last month. But in a recent interview with AJ Steele, AJ made the statement he didn't know exactly how far he could push himself with Spiral until that night. He made the statement, now I know Spiral can take it. and he can take a lot more than I dished out. So Spiral better be ready, because AJ Steele is going to be dishing out everything and then some. If you like traditional as well as, I don't mean to put a slant on that, but for those who like good old-fashioned traditional Southern wrestling that has made the move to accept the steps with the times, definitely check it out. The brand new edition of GCW TV, GCW Pro Wrestling, is up on GCWPro.com, also available through YouTube, and the links are flying around on social media like pancakes at a Fat Kid Fest. I'm a fat kid, I can say that. So I cover my tracks in that regard.
Sounds good.
But seriously, for everybody listening, check it out. GCWPro.com. The poster's up. The brand new episode of the television show's up there, and I'm working like a madman to get everything caught up on the website. Believe me, I am. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I normally do this during shameless plugs, but since we're talking about the core of pro wrestling, I had to get that one in a little bit early, and I'll probably allude to another couple of matches. Of course, I know that the GCW Tag Team Championships are going to be defended as the tournament progresses. So, our good friend, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, that'd be the second Wick reference of the night, and he'll tell me I'm behind schedule, will be managing the Sevenfold Saints through the GCW Tag Team Championship match and Wick has had a great track record when it comes to the JYD Memorial, which is a scary thought for a lot of people who are getting in it. It's almost like Wick's thinking by now that he should be co-named on that trophy. But in all sincerity, like I say, for our friends in Central Alabama, even in North and South Alabama, come on over to Pell City this Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. bell time. It's going to be a lot of fun. For our friends in West Georgia, Central Georgia, come on over. It's a short drive. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. When you have an event that you know the talent is going to be good and is going to help you enjoy being a wrestling fan, you can definitely say 1 hour worth the drive, 2 hours worth the drive. No problem. So for our friends in Atlanta, come on down. Chattanooga, come on down. Nashville, come on down. Montgomery, come on up. Birmingham, 45 minutes. Not even 45 minutes. 30 minutes away. Come on out. There will be a lot of fun to be had with some great professional wrestling action. And that's why for our friends in North Carolina.
There you go.
Yeah, really.
There we go. I'm inviting everybody, for our Masters of Ring Entertainment March 7th down at the Coastline Convention Center. Friends in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Charleston. We had some really great coverage by Mike Mooneyham, Charleston Post and Courier, which I really appreciate. So thank you, Mike. Up in Charlotte, you guys get a lot of action in Charlotte. But, Wilmington, nice town. Come check us out. Virginia, love our northern state above North Carolina. Great towns that appreciate pro wrestling. Georgia, come on up. Atlanta, I know you guys love your pro wrestling. Tennessee, you guys are a little bit of a drive, but I know you can do it. Dr. Tom's coming from around that area, so welcome all our friends in the Southeast. We've got people flying in as well. Our airport's great. Can't say enough about it. And we're going to have a 2-hour wrestling show during the expo. Just Cause Pro Wrestling, which is the pro wrestling brand underneath Masters of Ring Entertainment. So we're going to have nationwide independent talent, and we're going to be announcing that in the upcoming days so you guys can see the wonderful people we're bringing in. And it's really exciting. There's so much great talent out there. So this is a great chance to see the up-and-coming stars in the wrestling business.
I cannot believe that we have flown all the way through 2 hours in the blink of an eye.
It's what happens when you're having fun.
Tell you what, I have a tradition here, and you are now involved in that tradition. It can be on a local level. It can be a national, international level. I say it the way that it's been said for many, many years, and words I've come to dread, but I still respect them and appreciate them for what they are. Bambi Weavil, last call.
Oh gosh, I get to end the show, eh? Wow. I just want to take the time to thank everybody that has given Masters of Ring Entertainment a shot. Whether you're buying a ticket or you're following us on social media on Facebook or Twitter, or checking out our YouTube video, we really appreciate it. We have very large goals, nationwide goals beyond Wilmington, beyond Las Vegas. worldwide goals, to be honest, and we intend to get there. So I'm excited about the fan support we're getting, and we're nothing without our fans, and we're nothing without our pro wrestling talent that backs our product. So I just want everyone to keep their eyes peeled on Masters of Ring Entertainment. You can check us out at mastersofringentertainment.com, and just keep your eyes on us. We have a lot of exciting things in the works.
Notice you took that straight from last call to shameless plugs.
Hey, I'm a promoter.
One more time real quick, if you have them in front of you. Sponsors for the event.
Oh boy, see? Caught me off guard. TagMeADate.com, great sponsor. Double Q, The Hawk down in Wilmington, our radio sponsors. American Combat Elites bringing in Dan the Beast Severin. WrestleCade bringing in Bobby Fulton. All About the Game presents. They are bringing in the great J.J. Dillon. Full list of sponsors are on our website. We couldn't be anywhere without them. It's really amazing the local and national support we're getting. We've got sponsors from all over the country. We welcome new sponsors, so reach on out if you're interested. I'm not hard to find at mastersofringentertainment.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You name it, we're probably on it.
And speaking of, would you like to lay out for both Masters of Ring Entertainment and your how people can track you down over on social media?
All right. Facebook.com, Masters of Ring Entertainment. Twitter, Masters of Ring 1. Instagram, Masters of Ring Entertainment. YouTube, Masters of Ring Entertainment. See, there's a pattern here. Bambi Weavil on Twitter. That's me. I'm on there a bit. Facebook, I can be tracked down. I have a personal profile, but I also have a public one. Don't be shy. Reach out. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Email info@mastersofringentertainment.com is probably the best way to reach me. And I'm pretty social media active. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Always happy to take 5 minutes out of my day for anybody if I can.
Keep your eyes and ears open on BeyondRingside.com. And, of course, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/BeyondRingside Live. The reason why, and okay, we do have Facebook.com/BeyondRingside. 4,999 friends on there and 1,622 waiting. Please go to the friends page, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. Please drop over, click like. I post identical content on both pages so you won't miss anything. MySpace.com/Beyond Ringside, still active. Also on LinkedIn and Google Plus as well. No, I'm not doing Instagram. At least not on this account. For me personally, it's Fast Eddie Layne, LAYNE.com. At Fast Eddie Layne on Twitter and Instagram, which I've got to get started back on Instagram again. I have too much fun on Twitter sometimes, and yes, on my personal Twitter, follow at your own risk. Because I'll say it like this, every once in a while I go on a tangent, and I manage to offend somebody. If I don't offend you, if I haven't offended you yet, stick around. It'll happen. Of that, I have no doubt. Now, on the short side of life, let's go ahead and take it one more step real quick. Like I said, keep your eyes open, especially on the .coms, FastEddieLane.com, as well as BeyondRingside.com. Wrestling Fans Central Alabama, check it out, GCWPro.com. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody this coming Saturday night. For all my friends in Central Alabama, drop out, weather permitting, and say hi Friday night. Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. Start time is 9 o'clock p.m. If it's snowing, guess what? We'll make a snowman, put a mic in his hand, and make it sing as well. Better yet, if it's snowing enough and it sticks around till Friday, we'll make a snow partridge family.
It's time for that Christmas tree. I've been saying up here in New York, if it's this cold, if it's -4, which we had last week, I want Christmas lights up.
Yeah, that would work. Let me run this down real quick, folks. Live programming will resume right here on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio. Wednesday, February the 25th, 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. The To Be Determined Show, Wicked Nemesis, Angie Travis, Clyde Braddock, and possibly even a Steven Styles sighting. And I've got it on good authority. They're going to be joined by the irreverent Reverend of Professional Wrestling, try saying that 3 times fast, Tub E. Thunder. Thursday night, the 26th, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Cause and Effect present the Thursday Night Radio Throwdown. Robert Cosper, Stuart Couch, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, Pro Wrestling Radio with a twist. This Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time, Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase, the Hitman Big Daddy Cool Ryan Adcock, along with yours truly, the week that was and the weekend that is. And also late-breaking information for a lot of pro wrestling events that are going to be taking place this weekend. Sunday, working on the trifecta. Beyond Ringside Live, 5:30 p.m. Central. Wrestle Rage Radio with Smart Rage and Stan, 8 p.m. Central. The Midnight Black Mass with the Reverend Dan Wilson at 10 p.m. Central. Like I said, watch the Facebook, watch the Twitter, watch the .com. We'll keep you posted. Remembering, on the replay side, iTunes, Podomatic, Stitcher, Spreaker, and yes, you can find Beyond Ringside branded products, Beyond Ringside Live, Back to Basics, and Saturday Showcase on iHeartRadio. Thank you to everybody listening live this evening. I greatly appreciate it. For all of us here on the Beyond Ringside family of shows, definitely appreciate you coming on board, and especially for those getting the app. Believe me, I'm saying it for the 9th time. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for downloading. Tom Pritchard, always a pleasure. Always a blessing to have you come on board, and you know the door is always open. Bambi, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good times. I look forward to coming back on.
And about to say, it could happen sooner than you think.
Good.
So I'll say it like this. For special guest co-host, which we may have to drop the special guest part in the near future. She could be a little bit more than that. For Bambi Weavil of Master of Ring Entertainment. That's your
Thank you.
Oh, I was about to say that's your cue to say goodnight.
Good night.
This is the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Study Layne saying adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abasinia, au revoir, until we meet again. Aloha means bye-bye. Join us right here next time as we all go Beyond Ringside. Bye-bye.